this is a very, very special weekend because the Lions have an opportunity to win and lock up the NFC North and lock up a playoff spot. Now, Benji says we missed Stafford talk over Pistons talk. Yeah, last night, man, that Rams team, I'm telling you, they're heating up at the right time for them.
Yes.
Puka Nacua should be Offensive Rookie of the Year if it's not Stroud.
Oh yeah.
He was open every play. He's an incredible player. And I did lose some money. And the only reason why I lost was a 7-leg parlay, and I missed it by 2 yards from Cooper Kupp. He had 52. I needed over 53.5.
He got a couple of drops too, didn't he? Oh,
yeah. I missed out on like $100 and something. So I thought Stafford was going to win me some money there, but he didn't. So screw you, Stafford. Even though I love you. But regardless, yeah, we'll save that for another time. Rams look good. Yeah. You know what? That's a script I think the NFL is writing right now.
Yes,
Rams,
I promise you.
At Lions, it
writes itself, man.
It does write itself. Let's get into it though. Lions, Vikings breakdown. How do you see this game playing out? At least for me, we talked a lot about it yesterday, and I have a very similar take because I'm going to stay consistent here. At least defensively for the Vikings, that's where a lot of my concern goes because Brian Flores. I think Jared Goff against Brian Flores, his stats aren't great. And that's not just Jared. I think most offenses against Brian Flores usually don't look great. Brian Flores is a hell of a defensive mind. He is. He likes to blitz. And here's the thing. If someone likes to blitz, Sam, that leaves opportunity for guys to get yak and make big plays. And you have guys like Jahmyr Gibbs out the backfield, Jamison Williams, who's great in space, Amon-Ra St. Brown, Sam Laporta, who's also great in space. So this is an opportunity for these playmakers to make plays. And now Danielle Hunter is on the other side of that. So you have a tall task for Taylor Decker and Penei Sewell because those guys are going to have to play at a high level. More so Taylor because Penei's played at a high level all year. Taylor Decker is going to have to step up. But this offensive line, and I believe it was Birchfield that tweeted this out, but this Lions offense, with their offensive line healthy and when they're not, it's night and day. So they're healthy. At least we have that going for him. Penei Sewell was on the injury report, got scared. He practiced yesterday, so that's good. He's back. Yeah, that was nervous there. Yeah. But regardless, the defense for the Vikings is where I go. Because I think Nick Mullins, and I don't even know if we deserve to do this because we've seen, I mean, everyone remembers the Matt Flynn game. We remember things like that. But Nick Mullins will give you the football. So as long as this Lions defense kind of keeps up what they've been doing and they're generating pressure and they're turning the ball over, they're getting the ball back. Even with the playmakers, they're going to get a bunch of yards. I get that. They got Addison, they got Justin Jefferson, they got T.J. Hockenson. They're going to be able to get the ball to him. I get that. But if you could pressure him and you can create turnovers, the defense I think will kind of figure it out. But the strength of the Lions is their offense, and you're facing a damn good opportunistic defense that can get after the quarterback. So for me, this goes back to what they did last week and what they've been doing since this offensive line's been back, Sam, and they got to run the football. The Vikings passing defense isn't elite, but they do a good job of pressuring the quarterback and blitzing. So they kind of hide their questionable secondary. So to me, Sam, what I'm keying in on, it goes back to that turnover battle. Got to have another clean game from this offense. Yeah, you start with Jared, but it's not just Jared. No fumbles. They got to take care of the football. You can't give a guy like Nick Mullins a short field. You just can't with those playmakers.
Sure. Yes, and all of that you say is true. I am going to key in on what I think is one of the biggest matchups of the game, and that is the Lions offense versus the Vikings defense. A Vikings defense which has much improved this season under the leadership of Brian Flores, whereas last year they were one of the worst in the league. This year, by the numbers, the Vikings have been one of the best defenses in the league. They are 6th in scoring defense, 5th in rushing defense, but they haven't faced very many offenses like this Detroit Lions team. They faced the Eagles early on in the season. They gave up a lot of points and they lost. And the Vikings, they also, one of the other offenses they played, they did play the 49ers at one point in the year. The 49ers team that was missing Trent Williams and Deebo Samuel, but the 49ers still had Brock Purdy, they still had Christian McCaffrey, they still had George Kittle, and they still had Brandon Ayuk. And the Minnesota Vikings actually played their best game of the season against these San Francisco 49ers, and they held Brock Purdy to probably his worst game of the season. Brock Purdy had a touchdown and 2 picks in that game. So in that regard, the Minnesota Vikings, when they've played these like top tier teams, they've had a mixed bag of success. But that game against the San Francisco 49ers was absolutely spectacular. But this is a Detroit Lions offense which is fully healthy. Their offensive line is intact. Their backfield is intact, where each of them have missed a couple of games at some point this year. Amon-Ra St. Brown is healthy. Jared Goff is healthy. Sam Laporta, Jamison Williams is back after missing the first 4 games of the season due to suspension. And I think that this Lions offense has the advantage over the Vikings defense. I think they'll be able to run the football. I think they will be able to throw the football, but the tackles have to block DJ Wanham and Danielle Hunter, who have combined this season for 23.5 sacks, with Danielle Hunter having 15.5 of them. And I think that Penei Sewell could handle Danielle Hunter just fine, at least most of the time. The guy I worry about a little bit is Taylor Decker, who has had some injury concerns early on in the year and a bout of poor play fairly recently. So that is the key to keep the pass rushers off of Jared Goff. And also, the Minnesota Vikings their cornerback play has been suspect this year, but their safety play, led by Harrison Smith, Josh Metellus, and Cameron Bynum, who's probably been their best safety, they have been pretty good as a group. So that could be something that could give the Lions problems. And also their linebacking core, led by Ivan Pace Jr., the rookie standout, and Jordan Hicks, who might be back this week, is another part of the Vikings defense, which has been tough this year. So they have players at every single level. But like I said before, this Lions offense, fully healthy, fully intact, Ben Johnson cooking up his wizardry like he always does. I think they have the advantage over the Vikings defense, but this Vikings defense is no joke. And the fact that the Lions are on the road, they just have to take them seriously and be wary of this Vikings defense. I think they will, but it all starts up front with that Vikings pass rush. Just the tackles have to block.
And it starts, I think, with the offensive line, like it always does. We talk about it. This offense will go as far as this offensive line will take them. If you could pass protect, which they're going to need to, and they've been able to. The other thing is running the football, which I brought that up earlier. And I know the Vikings are one of the best run defenses. They're actually a better run defense, technically, according to the statistics, by 4 yards. They're the 5th run defense in the NFL. Lions are 8th. Doesn't matter. Lions are the 2nd best rushing offense. Yeah. So it's best on best. So just because they're good against the run doesn't mean the Lions are going to shy away from it. They're going to want to run the football. And you saw against the Bears, what were the Bears?
They were like right up there.
And what happened? They couldn't stick with the run because of the score, but they were able to run the football. We talk about this often. I don't give a damn where anybody ranks. You look at personnel, and then you look at the matchups, because that's what football is, right? Finding favorable matchups. The Lions' offensive line is a matchup problem every single week. So you can look on paper, Kenji, and you can see the Vikings are top 5, which, listen, Brian Flores done an incredible job, but they haven't faced an offensive line like this Lions one. I'll keep saying that.
No, they have not. And I think...
And these running backs, too.
Yeah, and I think the strength for us lies in the passing game, because if Jake Browning can go and put up 327 yards, I believe, last week, then Jared Goff should have absolutely no problem with a full complement of offense.
That's true.
Yeah, their front 7 is good, but that secondary has been being disguised. They do blitz the ball pretty well, so we'll see. But I expect a big passing game out of Jared Goff, at least 250 to 300 yards.
That wouldn't shock me at all, because the Vikings, their weakness of their defense has been their passing defense. But I think the Detroit Lions, especially with how balanced they are, with how good their rushing offense is, I wouldn't put too much stock into the Vikings having one of the top rush defenses. You should obviously be wary of it, but the only team that has a better rush offense this year by the numbers than the Detroit Lions is the Baltimore Ravens. And who's their quarterback? Lamar Jackson. Do the Detroit Lions get helped out by their quarterback when it comes to their rushing yards? I don't think so. So the reality is we know talent-wise that the Lions have the best backfield in the NFL, running behind the best offensive line in the NFL, but the numbers play that out as well. And even when they go up against some of the better rushing defenses in the NFL, the Lions can get stuff going on the ground. I mean, what has been their they've really only had one poor rushing performance this whole season, and it was against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, and David Montgomery went out in that game.
Right.
It's almost like death and taxes. The Lions will run the ball to a level of effectively. Either they have to go away from it, but they still have a high yards per carry, or they do what they did last week against the Chargers, against the Raiders, and damn near go for over 200 yards, or go for over 200 yards.
And here's the interesting thing. Even if they can't run the ball effectively, you still have to key in on it.
Yes.
Because even if Jameer and David combined are, averaging 2-3 yards per carry, one of those Jameer could break. He has the most 20-yard gains in the NFL.
Big gain Gibbs.
I like it.
I got roasted for that.
That's not a bad nickname.
I like it. I like Big Game Gibbs. All right, hey,
Not bad.
Relax. Heavyweights didn't like that one, but regardless, even if he's struggling, it's something the opposing teams' defenses have to consistently key in on. Just to read some of these comments, Gridville says, "Keep spitting, Jeff." Appreciate you, Gridville. This one. A certified supply chain professional. I wanted the Lions to draft Ivan Pace. The dude was unblockable in the Senior Bowl or whatever one it was pre-draft during the rush drills versus running backs. How was he undrafted?
That's unbelievable.
It's a great
undrafted.
It's a lot of the NFL's undrafted. Surprisingly not. Surprisingly so. Funky says the Vikings blitz 6 more than any other team thus far. Goff will have someone open regularly. He just has to hit them quickly. And that's probably one of the key things this game. They're going to send guys that some guys are going to be open, and they got guys that can make plays after the catch. So I think that's one of those things. It's going to be a big game for. You're going to have to expect a lot out of this offensive line, but also Goff. Like, I'm not saying he doesn't have to have 5 touchdown passes, but no turnovers, get the ball out quickly.
Well,
those are the 2 things that you gotta key in on.
I think a guy like Amon-Ra St. Brown is uniquely conducive to a guy who can run those short routes, and Jared Goff can get rid of the ball quickly. And if the Vikings are blitzing a bunch of guys, I'm sure that Amon-Ra St. Brown will enjoy some one-on-one matchups against Byron Murphy. I think it'll be barbecue chicken if that's the case. But of course, as long as Jared Goff can get rid of the ball quickly and the blitz doesn't get home too quick, but. What do the Lions have? A great offensive line. They can. I think they can at least hold those guys steady for a few seconds so Jared Goff can get rid of the football.
Establish play action. Let the rest take care of itself.
Yep.
Get the ball to playmakers, baby.